Swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, have a seat.
And I know you're soft-spoken, so please use that microphone next to you.
Yes, sir.
Would you introduce yourself to the jury?
I'm Brooke Perez.
And how do you spell your first and last name?
Brookperez.
A little bit louder, okay? Because I'm even having trouble here. Okay. And Ms. Perez, where do you live?
Satilla Shores.
How long have you lived at Satilla Shores?
The end of this month will be 6 years.
6 years. You moved in 2015 or so?
Yes.
Okay. And are you married?
Yes.
What's the name of your husband?
Diego Perez.
Okay. And do you have any children?
Yes, 3.
And what are their ages? You don't
13,
mind.
8, and 15 months.
13, 8, and 15 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you at one point the victim of theft crime?
Yes, sir.
Could you tell the jury what happened and first when that happened?
I don't remember the year that it happened. I knew it was over the summer. Someone in the neighborhood had posted on our neighborhood Facebook page that they had I think their car was broken into. And usually when that would happen, I would go out and check just to make sure. And sure enough, I went out and some tools were missing from my husband's truck. It was a Makita drill and impact dropper, charger, and 2 batteries in a case.
You said you don't remember the year. Would looking at your Facebook post about that refresh your memory?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
And I'll do it. Ms. Perez, if you'll turn at the top, there's page numbers. If you'll turn to page 430 and read through that, see if that refreshes your memory about the year in which that occurred.
Yes, sir. It's 2019, June 30th of 2019.
Is that the date you remembered it happening?
I knew it was in the summertime, yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know what time of day or night the tools, or approximately the tools, were stolen?
I would assume overnight because Diego always backed in front of the garage. And I know this was in the morning. Well, it says 11:51. I say morning. But I remember seeing it, early that morning and was like, oh, let me go out and check. And when I did, I noticed the tools were gone.
Did y'all take any actions as a result of his tools being stolen?
I called. I think it might have been the non-emergency number, but I did call and a police officer came out to the house. And we didn't have the serial numbers on there. And we said, ask him, can you fingerprint the truck perhaps? And he said no, because of the type of door handle it was that most likely would not show a print on there.
Okay.
So I said, okay.
Was that the first time since you moved into Satilla Shores in 2015 or so that you and Diego had been the victim of a property crime?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how did being victimized make you feel?
It's a very uneasy feeling. At the time, I only had 2 children, but I'm a stay-at-home mom, have been for several years, homeschooled my children. So I'm home by myself with the kids, so it just felt like a violation. Someone in something that, shouldn't be this close to my home.
Okay. Did you and your husband take any actions as a result of well, let me back up 1 second. Did the police ever find the person who took the tools?
No.
Okay. Did you and your husband Diego take any actions as a result of the theft of your tools?
Yes, sir. We purchased a Lorex home security system. It's a 4K ultra high def camera system, so that way, it's really good.
Do you know where?
I'm sorry, I hate to break the flow. It's really hard to hear you.
Sorry. Is it here?
I'm going to stand back here.
Okay, so I can yell at you. Okay.
Yes. And Ms. Teresa, if you don't hear me, let me know. You said you and your husband purchased cameras.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, did you install them or did Diego?
Oh, no, he installed them.
Okay. Do you know where on your house they were installed?
I think the first one we might have put over the garage. The other one is on the 2nd story. And there's one facing the front door. I think at that time we had only done maybe those 3. I don't think we had put any more. We purchased several cameras, but the cordage that they come with, they only come with X amount of feet, and then you have to buy additional cords. I don't really know much about it, but I just know that the ones that we were wanting to put out, the cording wasn't long enough, so he was only able to put up a few at once.
One was, you said above the driveway?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have, well, I'll get to that in a second. Did you post about the theft of tools on the neighborhood Facebook page?
Yes, sir, I did.
So when do you recall becoming a member of the neighborhood Facebook page?
The day, or maybe the day after it was created.
Do you know when that was?
I don't.
Okay. Was it prior to 2018, if you know?
It might have been. It may have been. I really don't know.
Well, tell the jury why you posted about a personal theft of you and your husband's tools.
Well, if I was a victim, I'd assume someone else, in the neighborhood was, because that's how I found out I was a victim, was someone had said, someone had entered their car last night, and I said, this needs to stop, where the car is locked, and then come to find out we were, theft, and apparently his truck wasn't locked. I'm not sure what happened, but just to let them know, hey, something was missing from us, you might want to check too.
Okay, so you were letting your neighbors know about your own theft?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did there come a time when you became the administrator of the neighborhood Facebook page?
Yes, sir.
And why did you become the administrator of the Facebook page?
Because my lovely neighbor made me administrator. I guess because I'm usually home, and I don't say I sit and watch the cameras, but it's a huge 40-something inch screen, and all you have are all these cameras that show, so if there's motion, it'll let you know there's motion, and it'll tell you what camera, and I kind of look to see, what's going on.
Okay. What does being the administrator mean for people who aren't on Facebook?
If you wanted to join the group, we would see who it is, and if they lived in the neighborhood, yes, here you go, and that's.
So the sole criteria of being on the page is you had to live in Satilla Shores.
Yeah, absolutely, or either. I think my mom's on there, and a couple of other, relatives, to look out. So if we were out of town, she would know, hey, there's something going on, they're not home, that kind of thing. But
as the administrator, how often would you look at the neighborhood page?
on Facebook, it'll give you a notification if someone's posted in there, and so I would look at my phone, periodically, and if I saw a notification, I'd go and then go on there and look.
Do you think you looked at it once a day, more than that, or less than that?
When someone posted on there, so sometimes there's more than one post a day, and sometimes, there's, several weeks that there's not a post, so it would just depend on the action.
Please tell us the kinds of things that people use the Facebook page for, the neighborhood Facebook page.
They would use it for if, we had an incident as far as a theft, if suspicious person, if our water went out, if power went out, if police activity in the neighborhood, basically to keep whatever is going on in the neighborhood, to keep our neighbors informed, because a lot of our neighbors are elderly neighbors, and there's several houses that are, I don't want to call them weekend houses, but basically no one lives there full time. They're there maybe a weekend a month or so. So that way everyone kind of knew what was going on.
Was it a way of keeping an eye on everybody's property and
yes,
other
sir.
things going on, the kids and things like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you keep Diego informed about the things you were seeing, Diego Perez, the things you were seeing on the neighborhood Facebook page?
I think I told him about the water a couple times, and I did tell him any time that there was suspicious activity, and anytime something would go missing, I would let him know.
And why would you tell your husband about suspicious activity that you were seeing being posted on Facebook?
Because he's my protector.
Okay, so to keep him informed about the things he needed to know to keep you and the kids safe?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know a gentleman by the name of Larry English?
Yes, sir.
How do you know Mr. English?
Our kids, so we bought the fun house in the neighborhood for all the kids to come to and hang out, and he has a young son that's in the same age as my oldest daughter, and the kids across the street, they all would come to our house, and his son Hoyt, he was outside playing, and I said, ask your dad to get your swimsuit and come swim with the kids, and he said, no ma'am, he won't let me, but if you come down there, maybe he'll let me. So we walked down there, and that's how I met Mr. English and introduced myself. Hi, I live right here. Our kids always play outside. If it's okay, can he come and play? And that's how I met him originally.
And how many doors down from you does he live?
2.
And I mean, when I say live, do we understand this to be a house under construction?
Yes, sir. He lives in a camper in the backyard.
Okay, so how often would you know Mr. English to be on his property approximately?
Still to this day, about every day, every other day. I see him all the time there. And since the house was being worked on, he's there working a lot. So
On the house?
yes, sir.
Okay. Did there come a time where you informed Mr. English about you and Diego having your tools missing?
Yes, sir. The day that the cop, came out, the day that our tools went missing, my husband said, there's a gentleman over here building a house. You might want to check with him. And my memory serves me correct. Diego and the police officer walked over there to Mr. English's house, and I think that's the first time that they had met each other.
Is that the first time you met Mr. English?
No, sir. I didn't go over there with the police. I met him, I think it might have been right after that, or maybe it was right before, but it was with the kids playing.
Was there ever a time where you became aware of problems Mr. English was having with intruders on his property?
Yes, sir.
And do you remember when that was?
I believe that might have been in October.
What year?
Maybe 2019. And I only know that because a neighbor had phoned and said that someone was on her camera. She wasn't home. And so I woke up my husband, hey, there's someone on the camera, go and check. And I spoke with police that night.
All right, so
and the police officers who told us about that.
All right, let's back that up. So there was a time where you became aware, I think you said October
yes,
of 2019.
sir. I believe it was in October.
Okay. How did you become aware of an intruder on Mr. English's property?
I can't say if I saw on the camera the cops or if it was when Diego was outside the cops, but I know I was alerted due to police presence, and I remember speaking to an officer, and he said that they were looking for a young black male that had been on, and he didn't tell me whose property, but pointed at the house under construction, and that the caller had said he had ran across the street to the house across the street from us.
And you said you got a call from a neighbor that
Yeah.
night while this was supposedly happening. Who was the neighbor?
Miss Lawrence.
Subi Lawrence?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and she called you?
Yes, sir.
And do you know, without telling us what she said, do you know why she called? Did she inform you, without saying what she said, of what was going on at her house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You mentioned Diego being outside. What did you do after you got a call from Subi Lawrence?
I immediately woke him up and I was like, honey, there's someone on Subi's camera, and he jumped up and busted his tail. We have hardwood floors and he was wearing socks and he slipped and fell and then jumped up and went out, went over, and he never found anyone.
So literally busted his tail?
Yeah, literally
fell on the
busted.
floor.
Yeah.
Do you know if he went over there, when he went over there, he was armed?
Yes, sir.
How do you know that?
My husband's normally armed. He carries every day in his waistband, so.
Has a concealed weapons permit?
Yes, sir, and we have USCCA, so.
Okay. So he went over, to your understanding, to Ms. Lawrence's house
Yes, sir.
to try to help her understand what was happening on
Yeah,
her
she
camp.
wasn't home, and she's a single mom with 3 small children. And when she called and said someone was on her camera, it was like, oh gosh, so I said, don't come home until we make sure everything's okay, because the last thing we wanted was someone to be in her house and, her and the little boys go in, and who knows
Okay.
what would happen.
Did you eventually go outside and I think you said talk to the police?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was, to your knowledge, anyone found, located, that had been the intruder at Mr. English's property that night?
No, sir.
Did there come a time when you became aware of other nighttime intruders in Mr. English's property?
Yes, sir.
And how did you become aware of that?
Mr. English would text my husband, usually a video, and sometimes he would call and say, how would he say, the colored man's back at my house.
That's what he says?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Or the colored boy is what he would call and tell Diego.
Okay. And Why did he call Diego, to your understanding?
I know my husband told him we're 90 feet or 95 feet something. Our house is, may seem like far, but it's not. And he told him, goodness, because Larry, I think, had sent him some pictures or whatever. And he said, if you need me to respond, I can. I can pin them up. I have night vision goggles, until the police can get here to see who this is. And
so your husband was leaving your house to go respond to Mr. English's problems?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you ever try to stop your husband and say, this is not our concern, don't do that?
No, sir.
Why?
Why not? Sorry.
It's dangerous, right? It's dangerous.
It could be, yes, sir, but if you don't know what, you're just going to find out, hey, what are you doing? What's going on here? That's not, it could be dangerous, yes, but it could not. So I didn't look at it as.
Did it not scare you when your husband would leave the home at night to go check on Mr.
It was very unnerving that what was going on because you didn't know what was going on, but I guess I trusted my husband enough and I knew, that I guess the Lord would protect him. Whatever he felt right as a husband and as a leader of our home to do, then that's what he should do.
Okay. How or what, if any, actions did you take once you started hearing about multiple intrusions in Larry English's property, 2 doors down from yours?
I messaged his wife on Facebook and asked, can we put up some no trespassing signs?
Who's Larry English's wife?
Larry English's wife.
Okay.
And ask, hey, can I put up some no trespassing signs? Maybe that'll deter, if you don't know, maybe if they see a sign and realize, hey, this isn't just, a random person building a house, it is an actual family building a house. Maybe that would deter something.
Did you ever call any of your surrounding neighbors to let them know that this intruder was here?
Yes, sir.
And could you tell us who you talked to about that?
I called Subi Lawrence.
Okay, single mom of 3.
Yes.
Across the street. So you and Subi were friendly beyond just neighbors?
Our kids went to daycare together, so I've known her for a long time. So yes, sir, I would say.
Okay. Did you ever post about the intrusions in Larry English's house, the break-ins in his house, on the neighborhood Facebook page?
I'm sure I have, yes, sir.
Okay. Give me 1 second. If you'll turn to page 356 and see if that refreshes your memory about a post you made about the man breaking into Larry English's house.
Sorry, you said 356?
Page 356, yes.
Read it?
Just to yourself.
Oh, okay.
So did you post about the intruder in Larry English's house?
Yes, sir.
And tell the jury what you posted.
I said black male, short hair, tattoos on chest and arm, ?
And that was in response to what?
To a neighbor of ours, her husband's truck was broken into and 2 rifles and a pistol were stolen.
What's the date of your post?
The date of my post, December 8th of 2019.
December 8th, 2019, and you posted about a black male with short hair and tattoos on chest and arm. Why did you single out those characteristics?
Well, whenever I spoke to the police, and he showed me a picture, and that was the description that he gave me, and that's also what I could see from the videos. At that time, I think we had several videos of a black male, short hair, tattoos, chest and arm.
Was the post on December 8th your description of the man in Larry English's house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you recall an event on February 11th regarding Larry English's house.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell us what you recall from that date.
Larry either called, I think he might have called and sent a video and said, that the same guy is back. So Diego would usually go out the back because we thought that he was coming in the back. But he didn't. He went out the front door, and I went out behind him. And then I saw Mr. Greg and Travis coming down the road, and I was telling them, shh, Diego, be quiet, that's Diego. I couldn't tell. I thought Travis was talking to his dad, but he was talking loud and excited, and I'm like, hush, someone's down there, be quiet. And I stood in my driveway. At the time, our yards weren't fenced.
Your yards were not fenced?
Our yards were not fenced, no, sir. And so I have a really high-powered flashlight, and I turned it on, and I shined it from my driveway to the river, and I could see straight across the river. So that way, if he was running in the back, I would see someone running.
So this is at night?
Yes, sir.
It's dark outside?
Yes, sir.
You're literally leaving your house and going out
In my front yard.
to your front yard. Do you
Yes,
have
sir.
a weapon on you?
Yes, sir.
What do you carry?
Yes, sir.
What do you carry?
Oh, what? Pair Ordinance 1911.
Okay. Pistol?
Yes, sir. 45.
Okay, 45. Is it in a holster? Or in your hand?
I think I might have had it tucked under my arm because I was holding my flashlight.
Now, why are you carrying your firearm out at night in a dangerous situation?
Who knows what am I going to encounter outside in my front yard? So, for my protection, my children are right inside this door.
So again, this is an intruder, someone at Larry English's house. You're putting yourself at risk.
In my yard, yes, sir.
In your yard, okay.
Mhm.
Do you ever see the intruder that night?
No, sir.
Okay, but your husband was out, Mr. Travis and Mr. Greg.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you see police respond?
Yes.
How long did you stay outside looking for a possible intruder?
Not long at all. I, waited a couple seconds, and I figured by the time Diego, had got in, he would scare whoever it was, and if so, they would be coming this way. And shortly after, I went inside.
Okay. Did you post about this incident as well?
I probably did.
Okay. Turn to the first page, 347. And see if that refreshes your memory.
Yes, sir.
Did you post about this incident?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What date did you post?
Looks like 2/12 of 20, February 12th.
So the next day.
Yes, sir.
And what did you post?
I said, it's the same guy the last few times. We have him all over camera, but boy, is he fast, and he knows our neighborhood really good.
Why would you say that?
Because literally it's 90 feet, 95-ish feet. My husband's pretty fast, but this guy was obviously, way faster because Diego had never, encountered him ever over there. So either he knows the neighborhood and knows, where to tuck in and hide, or he's booking it.
Okay. So as of now in February, still not found this intruder. And you're posting among your neighbors. Why are you posting this information?
To let them know, hey, this is the same guy. If it's not the same person, it would really be suspicious, but not like alarming. The same person coming over and over and over, it just made me, worry. Why is the same person coming over and over and over?
And it alarmed you because what were you thinking was happening?
I really didn't know what was happening. I assumed Mr. English didn't know who he was, and he had no business there, according to him, and that was his property. And he had told us, prior to that things had gone missing. So I just assumed the same person coming over and over and over, and you've had thousands of dollars of stuff missing. I assumed that it was the guy that would keep coming back.
So you put these